Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. And yesterday we started the chapter quality, and today we are going to start the next part of this chapter. And yesterday we read that the writer is describing Mr. Gessler and his shop, and in the end he is ordering for a Russian leather boots. Now let's start reading. Without a word, he would leave me retiring whence he came or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade, incense of leather. Soon he would come back holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. So now Mr. Gessler is showing some good piece of leather from which he is going to make the writer's boots. With eyes fixed on it, he would remark, "What a beautiful piece!" When I too had admired it, he would again speak, "When do you want them?" And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight." Or he were his elder brother, "I will ask my brother." Then I would murmur, "Thank you, good morning, Mr. Gessler." "Good morning," he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand, and as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip tap of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. So this is the conversation between the narrator and Mr. Gessler while giving the order of the pair Russian leather boots. So next is the incident when the narrator ordered a pair of boots, but the boots were a bit creaked, or was there was some problem with the boots, or boots were making creaking noise. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, "Mr. Gessler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know." He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement. So Mr. Gessler was totally in disbelief that how the boots made by him creak. It shouldn't have creaked. It did, I am afraid. You got them wet before they found themselves. I don't think so. So the leather breaks and makes noise, or leather becomes weak when you make them wet. So the Mr. Gessler is asking for the same if the narrator has made them wet. So I don't think so. At that he lowered his eyes as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. So it is a very serious thing for a artist, or for a shoemaker, for whom shoemaking is an art. So it is a very bad thing to listen a problem from his boots, from his work. "Send them back," he said. "I will look at them." "Zoom boots. Some boots," he continued slowly, "are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill." So this is the reply Mr. Gessler gave to the narrator. Look at the honesty of his work. So he is saying to cut it from the bill of the narrator if the boots are irreparable. So there is another incident. Once I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, "Those are not my boots." The tone was not one of anger, not of sorrow, not even of contempt, but there was in it something quite that froze the blood. He put hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. So the noise of Mr. Gessler was filled with something uh, problematic, and he just placed the finger at the right place where the boot was hurting to the narrator. It hurts you there, he said. Those big firms have no self respect. So the big firms are just selling their goods for selling, they don't care for the customer. And then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the condition and hardship of his trade. So, after this dialogue of Mr. Gessler, he spoke a lot of things about the work or the losses he is facing due to these big firms who are not caring about the customers. They get it all, he said. They get it by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this. Presently, I have no work. Every year it gets less. So, year by year, the work Mr. Gessler used to get is getting less day by day, less year by year. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. So the lines of tension is purely visible at Mr. Gessler's face. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So there was tension all around the face of Mr. Gessler. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill omened boots, but his face and voice made no deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever. As Mr. Gessler made good quality of boots, they lasted longer. And after looking at the condition of Mr. Gessler's trade, the narrator ordered many pairs of boots which lasted very long. And I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. So that's all for today, students, and we will continue with the chapter tomorrow. And your homework is to write all these keywords of the chapter and the given question in your fair notebooks. So bye, students, have a nice day.